Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to LEGO MARVEL Avengers. You know, I do want to mention, since we're back at the main screen, my computer had to reboot. Apparently you have to reboot to install software to turn off the LED on the graphics card for some reason. One of the things that's really annoying here is when you get these ham-fisted, crammed-in advertisements that are just added by, like, ruling from some manager up top of WB. Like, you don't ever get these ads to go away. I have the season pass. I have every single bit of downloadable content, and I'm fairly certain I own LEGO Marvel Superheroes. So they're literally advertising to me for things I've already purchased. You don't even get rewarded for that. And they have this scrolling text at the bottom that at some small launch window of the game would have said some kind of advertisement of some sort, but now just scrolls a default message to go to LEGO, the LEGO website, which they don't even tell you what the LEGO website is. It's lego.com for more information. If you go to the LEGO website, you are in no way going to find LEGO Marvel Avengers. You might have when the game first launched, certainly, but even then it would have been very hard because the LEGO website is so centered around either their kid portal or their shop. And so when you go to like lego.com, it'll ask you, are you here to shop or are you here to do some fun activities? So here we have Loki captured.
You so much as scratch that glass. 30,000 feet straight down in a steel trap.
Again, they're trying to have the comedy, and I find some of it that was funny, but I haven't found anything else.
He has an army called the Chitauri. He means to lead them against your people. In return, I suspect for the Tesseract.
I want to know why Loki let us take him. I don't think we should be focusing on Loki. That guy's brain is a bag full of cats. You could smell crazy on him.
Loki is beyond reason, but he is my brother.
I wonder if perhaps this is before the Chitauri attack New York. I guess maybe it is.
He's adopted.
I'll fly you to port. She's love life.
Iridium. What do they need the iridium
It's a
for?
stabilizing agent. Am I the only one who did the reading? No hard feelings. You got a mean swing.
I don't know if it's really necessary to show the Lego chicken with the part that
Tanner?
is extra, but I guess that is consistent.
Are you nuts? Threatening the safety of everyone on this ship isn't funny. You need to focus on the problem, Mr. Stark.
You think I'm not? What if you recall us, and why now? Why not before? What isn't he telling us?
Yeah, there is a big question there.
I should probably look into that once my decryption program finishes breaking into all of S.H.I.E.L.'s secure files.
So,
I don't know if we should be sneaking around behind Director Fury's back, Cap. Sure, I mean, Captain Rogers, sir.
so they don't really trust S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point. This is so early in all the events that it just feels completely disconnected to what the state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is now. There is, I suppose, an interesting argument to be made around what would an alternate universe have looked like had the United Nations, instead of S.H.I.E.L.D., assembled the Avengers, and had there not been a Nick Fury that is kind of a power mad person. Like, his actions are justified. Yeah, I would say Nick Fury, like a lot of superhero characters and characters in movies in general, have their actions justified because the writer writes them that way, instead of their actions being justified based on the actual moral decisions they made. Like, by every thought and mean, SHIELD is a secret military organization that acts without any oversight at all. This is probably going to be a bit of a hub world too. So to transport to different areas. I guess we're supposed to activate this.
Pretty suspicious looking box with a big lock on it. Nothing a vibranium shield can't smash through, though. For a minute there, I thought we just stumbled across a bunch of top secret Hydra weapons or something.
So we're not actually in a mission. Instead, we're just kind of running around.
And I like this. Your world in the balance, and you bargained for one man.
You're a monster.
Oh no. You brought the monster.
So,
See,
Banner, that's your play.
the problem, once they started using just the voice files of what was in the movie, they then immediately limited themselves to only those voice files. Whereas even in comparison to the Lego character, the Lego Star Wars movies, they had that opportunity at that point to have the entirety of 6 movies to quote mine voice files or re-record voice files, and a lot of aliens could certainly have been revoiced. So once again, you get a rushed feeling. I don't know if I'm supposed to be running towards Black Widow. It seems to be like way further away than they should be. And the LEGO games have consistently had problems where they just don't show you acrobatic the abilities that certain characters have. You can see he's making hallucinations. So let's see. Yeah. So we see that. And unless I was supposed to be able to do that, I don't know. Like, I literally don't know if that was a glitch or what.
I thought we had come across Agent Coulson's secret stash of Captain America trading cards. Sorry, sir. I'm also a big fan.
Is everything a joke?
See, this secondary character is getting revoiced, and then the response is everything a joke to you was something that Captain America, I'm sure, just said to Iron Man. And all they really want you to do here is to see these overworld in this hub section. Of course, this hub section would have been a lot better had there been a second or even third game. Yeah, the LEGO game series are getting to a weird point where they kind of do need third or fourth games. And I don't know if we're really going to see something like that. It would be fairly difficult to do that with the Indiana Jones series without just remastering the whole thing, which is what they've pretty much are probably going to do. Is, like, I think the Indiana Jones games would be after the Star Wars games, your next pick. And then the Harry Potter series of games could use a remaster too. But they've also run into a problem where there isn't anything that is really popular.
Hey, there's another one of those locked crates behind the door.
Let's see, like there's been some Trolls movies, musical things. I don't think you could make a Lego game after that. But as far as books and comic book series, unless they want to go more mature and try to get like the Maze Runner series or the Twilight series or something like that, that they're kind of out of things they can mine. There is, I suppose, an idea of just trying to do something kind of crazy, something public domain, like if they were to get all the Shakespeare stories and the ones that they could do, like Romeo and Juliet Lego would be an interesting twist. It would be something different. That probably wouldn't sell very well either, but yeah, they've kind of run out of ideas. There are other video games they could parody, and that's probably where they would be best suited. If you could make a Mario Brothers Lego game without having Nintendo be involved, which might be a possibility since Nintendo is now working with Lego directly, where for a long time they were not. They were actually mad at Lego because, well, no, Lego I believe was mad at Nintendo because Nintendo sold, they sold bootleg building blocks in Japan like 70 years ago, and they were still mad at them for that. Bootleg in the sense that in some countries Lego had the copyright for almost any way you could ever build a building block, and through that monopoly became very successful and made very good products nowadays usually, although the price tag is always very high for a Lego set. Fortunately, the copyright has since pretty much fallen out for everything Lego, so there's nothing stopping any other company from copying what they do, as long as it's not a licensed title. Like Star Wars is still copyrighted by Disney, so they couldn't clone that. But there can be more competition now. I feel like we've seen all of these areas before, so this might have been in LEGO MARVEL Superheroes. I might also just be backwards, and LEGO MARVEL Superheroes may have come out after this game. I don't think that's the case.
Definitely 100% sure that whatever it is, it's going to be inside here. Maybe.
Suppose you could do the Sherlock Holmes stories, since almost all of the Sherlock Holmes stories are not copyrighted anymore. They're public domain. You could do Homer, the Odyssey, the Iliad, things like that. Dante's Inferno, probably a little too mature to do in Lego, but maybe you could think of some way there. And Dante's Inferno in general, just a little bit too complex of a story to actually tell it. It would be a very dramatized retelling of the concepts if you're going to do something like that in Lego. And that would be true for a lot of the Sherlock Holmes and the Shakespeare stories too. You'd have to very much make a lot of stories kid friendly. Not even in the level yet, so I need to hurry up.
I was wrong. The world hasn't changed a bit.
And he found what? What did he find? A missile? I suppose what you would want to do is just look at what LEGO as a toy company has partnered with recently, and those would probably be your best bets as far as what TT Games would probably want to make games based off of. And they've had a couple Disney sets, so Mickey Mouse type sets. You could definitely have one of those.
I mean, I know it's not likely that Banner will transform into the Hulk at the worst possible time during our mission, but you can be careful. In any case,
yeah, I guess that would be the best one, is to go with Disney products, because beyond that they just have some Harry Potter products that they're still pushing, and some Nintendo products that they're pushing, Mario products. So that's probably the next two games would be a Mario Lego game and a Mickey Mouse Lego game.
Phase 2 is S.H.I.E.L.D. uses the cube to make weapons.
Did you know about this?
You want to think about removing yourself from this environment, Doc? Loki is manipulating.
I'd like to know why S.H.I.E.L.D. is using the Tesseract to build weapons of mass destruction.
Transport 6650 Bravo.
That's a pig.
Mercenaries to carry out evil plan. Over.
Captain America's on threat wall.
It's really not a smart move to
Genius billionaire philanthropist.
argue in a game. It seems like Loki is manipulating everybody.
You need to step away.
And see, that is a very dramatic scene.
See my party trick after all.
Yeah, I never really felt like the comedy is as good as it once was. And maybe that is just because I was much younger and just more of a laughable type of person back when I played the LEGO Star Wars games. This is a very funny scene where he's just getting injured over and over again, turning him into the Hulk. What's really funny here is it kind of leaves you with this feeling that there really wasn't that much that even happened in the Marvel Avengers movie, and that very well may be the case. That there was a lower amount of budget and a lower amount of action, and so they just stood around and talked a lot. Loki does kind of have that issue where he is I just got smashed because I didn't move fast enough, I guess. He is a very cerebral type enemy, and I think they learned in later movies that if they were going to have an enemy like that, they needed to have a secondary enemy character who was more of an action type character to give some danger. Although, you know, some of the Iron Man movies also had characters like Whiplash who didn't really play a good enough role to justify being in the story. But that's something that's just to be expected, I think, because frankly, any Marvel movie is going to try to have a lot of references to characters in the Marvel Universe, and there's thousands of rogues gallery type characters in the universe, so you might as well mention them. Although a lot of the Marvel characters also are kind of ridiculous enemies, like Stiltman, for instance, who aren't really useful characters. I suppose it is also worth mentioning that the Marvel Netflix series that did have a character who was Stiltman managed to kind of lock in and fail to really integrate those characters into other people, into something that would they would build into the cinematic universe, in the same way that even their own TV series failed to integrate in the cinematic universe. Alright, so we've got another quick time event fight, where this would have been a boss fight normally, and if this game was not so rushed. Just pressing things, but look at the animations that are actually happening here. The animations are the exact same over and over again. So either they needed this fight to not last as long as it did, or just be a cutscene. It's weird for a Lego piece to be wet and floppy.
We need full evac on the lower hangar bay.
That's supposed to be funny?
It probably would have been better if Hawkeye as a character wasn't under control of Loki, or he wasn't revealed to be under control of Loki until the very end of the Avengers movie, instead of being shown immediately at the front of the movie. Because then you could have established a level of, well, different character to say the least, as far as Hawkeye, making him a bit of a rebel, also making him a bit untrustworthy. The main characters in the Avengers all come off immediately as just saccharine sweet and trustworthy to the ultimate, and that really ruined the idea of the Civil War, because like almost all conflict should have been eliminated by the end of the Avengers first movie, because you have the entire world attacked by you have the entire world attacked by aliens. You have a dramatically world-changing event in the Tesseract, and that should have been the end of any potential conflict between any of the characters in the Avengers, which kind of makes an argument that there should have been a prequel group of Avengers that died and replaced the sequel group. Of course, that may very well be the case as the years go on, is that we'll see younger actors replacing characters like Iron Man and Captain America and Hawkeye, but those younger actors will either have to be given all new characters with all new powers and names, and then you'd have to build new characters and write new characters, and that hasn't worked out greatly for. Man, I just keep getting I keep getting hit by different traps apparently. I guess I'm supposed to just lock this guy in and shoot him for one hit, and then I guess I move on to another battle. There's a recent Marvel game that they very badly made, in my opinion, that highlights Kamala Khan and starts with all the Avengers split up, and it really makes Kamala Khan the main protagonist. And at a certain level, I think you can do that. Kamala Khan and Miles Morales, the new Spider-Man, definitely help a little bit. Although Peter Parker, if you're depicting Peter Parker as the young Spider-Man character who relatively recently got his his powers, he also can be a kid like character, and that you could give it to a new actor to play as Spider-Man. But you are going to have to bring in some other people. You could bring in, for instance, they've been trying forever to make a Moon Knight series. You could bring in Hawk and Dove, whatever iteration you want to make from that. That there are a lot of people that have their powers because they have specific items or just were picked by some deity to have the powers. So so there is definitely room for throwing in some new characters. Of course, every time you do that, they get less recognizable and they get weirder. Like, it would be very hard to do something like an Animal Man or a Swamp Thing movie these days, because what they want are humanoid and relatable superheroes, and there's only so many of those that they haven't already made movies about. You could do Fantastic Four, certainly, and there should have been a decent Fantastic Four movie a long time ago. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing again. So I'm just running around and shooting things. Am I supposed to just be fighting people until the end? Until the game decides I shouldn't be fighting any more people? I think that's very well the case. The ship's about to crash. But is there any way to escape? Man, this game is terrible. I guess maybe I'm supposed to go over there. Where it really is bad about telling you what you're supposed to do. Like, the real solution, better than anything else, and I imagine comic book people might love it, but then they might just hate it too, because comic book people in general just can never be happy about anything. Are we trying to match? At least this is a different game. If they had really merged DC and Marvel together, but I kind of hate to see Disney also purchase DC and merge those two together. And DC and Marvel, you kind of need that. You need your Coca-Cola to the Pepsi. I won't say which one I think is which, but well, no, I think I can kind of say fairly easily. I believe, if I was to guess, that DC is the Pepsi, in the sense that DC has Batman and overemphasizes Batman, whereas Coca-Cola has several other flavors that I bet I have to come over here and activate something too, that aren't just like spin-offs of Coke, like Cherry Coke or Diet Coke and things like that. And even at that rate, I would say Pepsi does not. I don't think there is a Cherry Pepsi. I don't think there's a Diet Pepsi, almost certainly. Marvel has a little bit more variety, where DC inherently overemphasizes on Batman. Alright, so we have a switch. I don't think we can activate the switch. We have fire everywhere. If there was a way to activate that, I would have had a prompt. And we're just stuck here, once again, trying to figure out what to do. Like he doesn't have any like abilities that would put out fire. So unless I'm supposed to be able to somehow double jump up that way to get through the fire. Oh, here's something that you were supposed to be able to build. And the pieces had just apparently been around and behind the fire pieces. This is just really not the way you want anything to go. Force somebody to play a video game after watching a 2-hour movie, particularly an old movie. Like you really would potentially have a Netflix streaming issue at this point too. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the original Avengers game is only on Disney Plus, not Netflix now, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it is in some way vaulted on Disney Plus and you can't actually watch the original Avengers. So yeah, imagine you've never seen the Avengers, you want to get your kids into the Avengers. You would think this would be the perfect game to get them into the Avengers, but no, it's awful. It really is really bad. The gameplay is fine. It's not the greatest, but it's fine. But just wandering around, not knowing what to do, is unacceptable. And frankly, I kind of would like to see the story wrap up, and I'm not sure that we won't actually see the story kind of wrap up. So we shoot him, and then it immediately jumps to this cutscene.
Escort 6-0, proceed to Wishbone and engage hostile. Don't get too close.
Yeah, it would have been so much smarter to lose half of these cutscenes and instead have the game talk to you while you're playing and give you an idea. And clearly in the movie that wasn't Stan Lee.
How do I get myself in these crazy situations? Get off of me.
I believe it was Black Widow that shot Bruce Banner with the ship.
Engine control panel, tell me which relays are in overload position.
What's our next move?
Yeah.
See what we got.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to just having a brisk experience at this point. Let's just wrap up the main story and let's do the overworld section. This feels like a game I probably would be more willing to recommend as, hey, did you really like the overworld section of Marvel Hero Avengers? Well, then you could probably do some more overworld section style gameplay around in that same way. Although, in all fairness, with Marvel Superheroes 2 already existing. There's probably not the greatest argument. I assume the cracked walls are things that only Bruce Banner can break. The way Iron Man attacks is weird too, because when you hit X, he'll often do a flip with a laser that does a diagonal shot. Okay. We have a mind-controlled character. And I'm not sure where else to go. Possibly need to go in here. There's something back here. Maybe I'm supposed to fly around. See, this is a bad idea. Frankly, it's not smart to have a character that can fly around a circular pattern and potentially cheat his old way around the whole level. Apparently I can't break that, which makes me feel like I probably haven't done everything that needs to be done over here. Because if I was supposed to do everything that was supposed to be done over here, then this door should be open. Like Captain America can put out fires. I have to remind myself of that. Most LEGO sections won't let you go forward until you've done everything that needs to be done.
How does it feel to be a genius?
Alright. Go ahead and cut this. And then that lets you get in this area, which then lets you potentially find something to blow up over here in this area, so that we can move forward and let the other character move forward. I honestly just don't feel like LEGO games have ever in the past been puzzles. Like, this feels a lot like the kind of logic you would have in a point-and-click adventure, where you're given a bunch of objects and you're given a bunch of things that you might be able to interact with, but you're not told in any way what to do or what even the final goal is half the time. Yeah, LEGO games should be kid-friendly, and you're just not getting that here. And see, now I think I can blow this up. Well, maybe not. I can blow it up, but I didn't get any prompt or any lock on. Fine. Fair enough. Right, so back this way.
When I doubt anything would surprise me.
It's an interesting question about what movies' voice lines and dialogue would catch my attention as far as something like this. I feel like, yeah, if you made a LEGO The Labyrinth, the Jim Henson movie, there might be something there. But on the other hand, I was never a fan of like the the Dark Crystal, and they tried to do a reboot around that and made some reboot series, but they didn't look any more interesting than the original. Yeah, a Lego Muppets game, certainly. You might be able to do something there, and the Muppets would be very kid-friendly, although, in all fairness, the new Muppet series is not as good, I think, or is just fun in general. They took it in a turn of more dramatic for really no good reason. And I don't think I really controlled Iron Man in that last section. I think he just flew and walked through the door automatically. This is another dramatic section that I remember, and it really doesn't make any sense to have a section like this.
Are you ever not going to fall for that?
Yeah. There's just a ton of action scenes that I don't know how you put that in a Lego game.
The humans think us.
There should have been a ton of boss fights.
Move away, please. You like this? Even I don't know what it does. You want to find out?
Again, trying to be comedic. And it's, I suppose, only a slight spoiler for the TV series, as it's pretty much shown almost immediately in the first season that the Agent Phil Coulson gets killed in the Avenger movie, and he becomes the Battlecry martyr to convince the superheroes to form the Avengers and work together. And then secretly he gets unkilled basically by Nick Fury, and at that point they never tell the Avengers, or it's years and years later until they tell the Avengers that Agent Coulson was still alive, and Nick Fury basically never has any interaction with Agent Coulson again. But Agent Coulson gets basically forced into being the person in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., at least the S.H.I.E.L.D. elements that don't work with the Avengers. So in a weird way, Nick Fury split off the Avengers initiative from the rest of S.H.I.E.L.D. and left Agent Coulson in charge of the rest of S.H.I.E.L.D. For better or worse. And then Nick Fury kind of disappears, just really disappears. He's just not around in most of the stories. I don't think the actor that they had for Nick Fury ever really wanted to have that much screen time. He's probably not that good of an actor, frankly, if you gave him 5 minutes of screen time. Well, that's gonna be it for this recording, and yeah, like I said, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we will kind of just wrap this up. There's probably at least 3 more levels, but I'd just like to see the story wrap up, and then we can do the open world stuff. We can kind of forget about the story, and by that point we'll probably have so many extras that speed up the game, and we can just skip through all the conversation parts. We can get all the collectibles when we play the levels in free play. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam, and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.